If you feel like fat loss just doesn't work for you anymore, you're not alone. And if you want to drop 20 pounds by the end of the year, you need a plan that works and works fast. I spent years, like so many years, feeling stuck, just like you probably do. Until, seriously, I finally cracked the code. Losing 80 pounds and helping hundreds of others do the same over the past decade. What I found is that most of my clients are making the same 4 mistakes that are keeping them from losing the weight. In this video, I'm gonna reveal exactly what's behind your plateau and how you can finally drop that stubborn belly fat for good. Most people fail before they even start because they miss this one simple thing. So let's fix that right now. I'm gonna show it to you here on this whiteboard. Okay, so this is a bridge, pardon my horrible drawing skills. And this is you. Probably with some more belly fat there, no offense. Our goal is to get to the end of the rainbow, and this first block is what I'm gonna call mental toughness. Your mental toughness has to come first, and this isn't about discipline. So if you have tried to follow a plan in the past that just required you to just like really white knuckle through it and grab on and hold tight, don't worry, that's not what this is. This is about, and I know this is corny, having a bigger why, and it helps you be mentally tough. If you want, after this segment, drop your why in the comments. It's something you can come back to, keep reminding yourself on. You guys can encourage each other. The bigger your why, the more likely you are to stick to it. And I'm gonna kind of explain what a big why kind of looks like. So I know this is obvious. A lot of people use their families as their why. I have 2 beautiful daughters that, and a beautiful wife that I want to be around for. And I also, it's kind of a joke, but I tell my daughter, my older daughter, like, Daddy is stronger than any boy you're ever going to bring home, and I'm only getting stronger throughout the years. So it's kind of a joke, but that really is my why. Like, I want to be the strongest guy in her life, at least for a while, And my family really is the reason, but I also want to travel and not feel so, ashamed about my body. I want to go to the beach and actually be excited to show my body. Not that it's like for other people, but you get what I'm saying. I mean, I'm sure you relate to that. So although my why might sound like I want, a part of it at least, is that I want to show off, it's really that I want to enjoy one of the major luxuries of life one day, which is travel and seeing the world, not being stuck in the Midwest of the United States of America. That may not be something to you that is important, but find your important thing that just really resonates deeply with your heart that you can think back on. So here's how you're gonna incorporate this into this part of the plan, okay? Sorry for the camera shake there. You are going to recite your why, and when you fall off, follow the 24-hour rule. For 24 hours. Even if you slip up, you stick to the plan. You get your workout in anyway. You eat healthy at your next meal anyway. The next day, you can give it up the next day, okay? But for 24 hours, you have to plan out your next meal, plan out your next workout. What I find is that action erases guilt. You won't feel it first and then take action. Decide to take the actions based on your why, so your why comes first. You take the actions that I just said, which is basically your workout and your eating, and then that guilt just leaves. It's amazing if you trust this process. Guys, I've been there with you and I know how it feels. Trust this process. One thing that has really helped me has been this craving survival map. It goes through what you might be feeling besides actual hunger and allows you to go through the checklist of things that are under that emotion to defeat that craving and never give into it in the first place. If you want that, it is totally free, link in the description. So once your mindset's locked in, the next step is actually fixing the plan itself, because even a strong why cannot save a broken plan. So our second block here is fixing the plan. Think of your fat loss plan like a bucket. Most people just keep pouring in more effort, more workouts, more restriction, and more stress. But the bucket's full of holes. You don't need to pour faster, it's just leaking out the bottom. You need to fix the hole so it doesn't leak. That's your broken plan, your too little calories, your all or nothing mindset. Once the hole is sealed, every bit of effort counts because nothing is leaking out the bottom. So this is really about, if you repeat the same things you have in the past, a crash style approach, and you might think that you're immune to that, but so many of my clients come to me and they still are bringing up these ideas of, I need to slash my calories, I need to dip my calories super low. And I understand that will give you quick results, but it's not the results you're looking for. And it's certainly not sustainable. Our goal here, in order to lose this amount of weight by December 31st, is to aim for roughly a 1,000 calorie deficit between now, the day that this video is posted, and December 31st. And that was a daily deficit if I didn't say that. You cannot do this, I guess you could, but I strongly recommend you do not do this with diet alone, but your movement is a huge chunk of that. The whole point of that, and I'm a big believer, if you've watched any of my other videos, I'm a big believer in moving more, not necessarily eating less. Now, yes, we have to probably adjust the diet, but by moving more and that being the bulk of your calorie deficit, you're able to eat so much more. I would also aim for like 10,000 steps a day or whatever is challenging for you. Get a step pedometer off of Amazon, they're super cheap. And I find that they're more accurate than your phones. But you can base it off your phone as well. If your phone says you're getting 5,000 steps a day, aim for something like 7,000. Something that's challenging, something that's a bit out of reach, but something that pushes you, because we're in for a sprint here. You definitely have got to be strength training, okay? About 3 to 4 strength training sessions a week would be ideal, but a minimum of 2. That would be total body workouts if you're doing 2 to 3, and if you're doing 4, that'd be like an upper lower split. I didn't plan this isn't in my notes. I have a free Fit Buddy is what it's called, AI coach, fat loss coach. If you tell it your details and like what I said in this video or whatever, you just start talking to it, it'll give you a plan that's gonna fit that 4-day split or 2-day split or whatever. And then of course, cardio sessions. Now I'm not usually big on like, hey, jump into strength training and adjust your diet and hit your cardio like all of it at once. I usually focus on steps, but this particular video is about getting you a result before the end of the year. And so you definitely have to be doing cardio. About 3 to 4 sessions a week would be ideal, roughly 30 minutes, but do what you can. If you cannot do 30 minutes, you can only do 20 minutes per session or 30 minutes twice a week. Do that, okay? We're gonna make adjustments. That's part of this video. And so you're gonna be adjusting and you're gonna be getting there, okay? Don't worry about it. So most people, they nail their plan and then they mess it up in the gym. Let's fix that before it stalls your results. So the mistake here is working harder instead of working smarter. Another kind of cliche statement. But this next block is your cardio and your lifting. Fat loss, to kind of go with this analogy, although it's not fitting with these exact blocks, but fat loss is like building a bridge. Cardio, imagine you're laying down wood planks. That gets you across. It gets you across faster, allows you to work on the entirety of the bridge. But your lifting is what is gonna build the foundation of the bridge and allow you to build the support structures so that you can actually finish building that bridge instead of with wood planks, with metal, something that's actually gonna last. But the point here is that you need both in order to build the bridge. You couldn't have finished the bridge if you couldn't get across it to work on it in the first place. So that's where the wood comes in, that's where the cardio comes in. I know I talked about cardio a little bit in the last point, cardio and lifting, but I wanted to talk about this specifically. Since we're trying to get a result in this window, cardio helps with your fat loss now. Muscle helps with your fat loss forever. Muscle is what prevents you, and I wanted to bring this up for the longevity of this plan. Muscle is what prevents you from having to eat less and less and less and eventually give up your plan and just go backwards like you always have before. This goes back into what I was saying earlier about eating more. More muscle allows you to eat more because you need to maintain that tissue. If you can lose weight on 3,000 calories, that's what I do. I lose a pound a week on 3,000 calories. So my burn is roughly 3,400, 3,500 calories. I actually eat like 2,930. So it's like 3,400 is my maintenance. I can lose weight, and usually that pisses people off, and I understand, but it's because I have decent muscle mass. I can lose a pound of fat a week on 2,930 calories. It is amazing. It also gives you shape. It allows you to look good. I mean, I feel like I look strong, and that makes this whole process enjoyable, not just the end. Okay, so you've got your mindset and you've got your training dialed in, but there's one last piece that people never really see coming, and that is your adjustments. This plan that you were on, even if it's perfect, is not gonna work forever. I'm sure you've been there where, it stopped working. What did you do in the past? Did you just try to white knuckle through that plan and then eventually give up? Maybe it's because the plan wasn't adjusted. Count on this. You're gonna need to adjust your plan. This point is about hoping it's working versus knowing it's working. I always tell my clients, when you have control, when you feel that control, that's, I think, deeply what people want. They don't necessarily care so much about the results. And I know you're like, yes, I do, of course. And I get that, okay? But if you had control, where at any moment you felt like you could flip the switch and get better results, that's what this is about. And this is very encouraging, at least to me. So as I said, we need to adjust, but we have to know when to make them. So what we're gonna do here is look at our weight loss trend, not the number. One number, I always tell I hate that I'm always bringing up my clients, but I literally talk to them all day long. So I tell my clients, every time you step on the scale, it is either false high or false low, but no matter what, it's false. The only true part of stepping on the scale is what has it been doing lately. So if you have one of the biggest traps that I see is that a person will, let's say they hit 189 for the first time, and then a week goes by and they hit 190, 191, 190, 192, 190 again, and they're like, man, I'm stuck. But if you zoom out, you were never seeing 190 before. It was just the 189 that made the 190 feel like it was no longer cool. But that 190 is probably more like your true weight. And if you look at the trend, you'll see, oh, I'm on track. And if I stick with it, I'm not actually in a plateau. If you are here in this video at this point, this is the secret sauce. This is it. You rarely are actually in a long-term plateau. It's sticking with the plan. That's the difficult part. It's trusting this process. Now, let's say you are in a plateau and 2 weeks goes by and the scale is flat. You zoom out 2 weeks and you're like, yep, it is flat. I wanna give you an answer for what you do then, because that will happen, and don't worry, we can fix it. So the first adjustment I would make is to your calories. I wouldn't slash them very much, about 250 at most. But then I would also add 1,000 calories per day. Then I would wait another week, and I would literally repeat that process. But the following week, if it's still flat, which man, I highly doubt it would be, but if it's still flat, we gotta look a little bit more at the cardio. So I would increase your cardio by 5 minutes at least per session. So if you're doing, 4 sessions a week, that'd be 20 minutes extra that week. If you're only doing 2 sessions, I might add 10 minutes to each session, but you get it. Add some time to each session. That way it doesn't feel like you're taking an extra day. It doesn't feel like you're taking that much extra. You're just taking, a handful of minutes on each session, and now you're almost doing, if you have enough sessions, you could be doing another hour a week. Double check that you are food logging accurately, or that you're keeping track of your food log accurately. And if you have no idea how to even food log and you're like, well, I need the answer to that, then that answer is gonna be right here. This is gonna help you avoid the mistakes of keeping track of your calories and the diet side of things.